following podcast is brought to you by your friends at myactsofsedition.com. We hope you enjoy it.
You're about to enter the most dangerous neighborhood in South Florida. So arm yourself with the truth. It's the Joyce Kaufman Show. Live from News Talk 850 WFTL.
The worst thing about emails is you put them off, and then they become obsolete. But I want to have a conversation right now with a gentleman who came to my attention as a result of my friend Fane Lozman, who is a big-time activist up there in Riviera Beach, and he kind of put me in touch with a gentleman who is doing really some incredible investigative work and challenging the Deerfield Beach city officials. His name is Chaz Stevens. I don't know if I've ever met you, Chaz. Have we ever met face-to-face?
Joyce, thank you for taking me on your show, and I have never met you face-to-face, ma'am.
Wow, that's unusual, since most activists just sort of gravitate to me. But I'm sure we will meet in the days to come. I was involved in a Deerfield Beach controversy where they were going to basically shut down all the businesses in the Cove Shopping Center to do what was an outrageous restoration of the parking lot with no accountability to those small business owners whatsoever. So I'm familiar with the Deerfield Beach Commission.
When it comes to doing things wrong, we excel here in Deerfield Beach, and especially when it comes to corruption. The last couple of years, Joyce, I've been kicking over rocks, and every rock I kicked over, you'd be amazed what we found under there. And unfortunately, because of apathy and the players and the powers to be, everybody seemed to have turned a blind eye and wasn't paying attention until I came along. And Mayor Capolini's in jail. I came along, and Commissioner Steve Gonaut's in jail. And if the news breaks as I think it's going to break, we're going to see more arrests probably within the next couple of weeks that are going to include one, maybe two other elected officials. So that'll be 4 out of a town of 80,000 people.
It's almost bizarre. I mean, when you think about it. And the trail of corruption is long. How does something like this happen in a city of this size where really you have a pretty active community that, hosts a number of festivals and looks to the outside world like it's doing okay?
Well, if we peel back the clock to going back to the Larry Dejan era, which was back to 2006, Deerfield, like every other town, had a lot of money, right? Revenues were good, and we didn't have to worry about our terrible economy. So we were spending money like, drunken sailors on shore leave. When everything tightened up, money became a problem. So we started to look. We had the skeletons in the closet, but we had city managers and we had elected officials the city managers looked the other way, perhaps weren't directly involved. We had city officials, elected officials who are under investigation and or arrested and or removed from office. So what were we going to do? With these street festivals, we uncovered because of an audit, and I say we, it was actually the great folks at Kessler, $2.6 million in question. Out of a town of 80,000 people, festivals from 2006 to 2009, $2.6 million.
Oh, I thought it was $1.6 million. I got the wrong article in front of me. The audit that I've seen from Kessler International shows $1.68 million in missing revenues to Commissioner Sylvia Portier.
Correct. And then there's a follow-up press release that I just issued, I'm thinking 2 days ago. Kessler also documented another $1 million. There was this fellow by the name of Jimmy Bohorn. He was great friends with our Parks and Rec director. All entertainment went through Jimmy Bohorn. Triple billing of expenses, checks that seemed to have disappeared. Jimmy Bohorn's fee, he wasn't a booker. He was just a guy who was an enabler, supposedly bring these acts in. triple charged his service fees was 35%. 100 rooms were built to the city for city employees. Commissioner Portier, who you know I go after, she herself in 1 year acquired 137 tickets at $35 a face for the ticket. 60 went to a relative of hers. Everywhere you look, Joyce, it was just bad.
Now you're the housing authority commissioner, aren't you?
I was there. I was a housing authority commissioner for 3 sessions.
Oh, okay.
I've been going after the housing authority quite actively. I've looked into the housing authority. I have my own suspicions. My understanding is HUD's OIG, which is the investigative division of HUD, has an active investigation into the housing authority. The housing, just to give you an idea of how upset the housing authority is, in 2005, they spent $5,000 for the entire year for legal services. This year to date, almost $60,000. The attorney for the housing authority who called me vile and nasty, a guy named Crawford, has billed about $15,000 just to figure out some way of shutting me up or shutting Kessler down. $15,000 that could have been put to better use, people that truly needed a helping hand. Instead, they just wanted Chaz Stevens to crawl back under whatever rock I crawled out from and just to go away.
Wow. Well, you don't seem to be crawling out from under your rock. What motivates you?
Doing the right thing. People say, I've been called everything, Joyce. You would not believe the names I've been called. Sexually abused, a stalker, a rapist, a wife beater, a woman hater. There's no paying. I do this for free. I get nothing out of this. I have threats of physical violence. I have threats of lawsuits, yada, yada, yada. If it wasn't me, no one else will step into the plate. We'd still be having the problems here in Deerfield. I just want a better place to live. I'm like you, Joyce. I'm like my buddy Stan Lozman. We come at it from different angles. We just want a better community. Yeah,
and we just want honesty. I'm speaking with Chaz Stevens. He is a community activist in Deerfield Beach who has really done some incredible investigative work since, I guess, back in like 2006 or 7. And a lot of that work ended up with an arrest and removal from office of the Mayor Al Capolini and Commissioner Stephen Gano, or however you pronounce his name. And now, of course, you're hot on the trail of Commissioner Sylvia Portier, who has been there's all kinds of things being investigated, from her role in the Beach Brazilian Festival that Deerfield held back in 2008, just missing money everywhere.
Let me tell you a quick story, just for the audacity of it. There's lots of stories. The Brazilian Festival, the Kessler folks estimated that around numbers here, $70,000 should have been earned. $35,000 was turned in. So $25,000, or it's actually $28,000 is missing. Counting in the room of this money are 5 city employees plus Commissioner Portier. Why is a commissioner, an elected official, in a room behind a closed door physically counting money? My understanding, and I can't go into any further, is that the story of 5 city staffers plus 1 elected official counting the money, I've been led to believe that story gets even worse. I can't talk about it. I'm under a confidence. But if you think that's just bodacious enough, I believe in a couple of weeks you're going to find out that little story gets even significantly worse.
Well, it does. I mean, I know that she authorized all proceeds to go to a charity which her daughter is one of the, I guess, one of the heads of. Or is operating this Deerfield, West Side Deerfield Businessmen's Association, and the daughter's under a couple of criminal and civil investigations herself. Correct.
For a while, Joyce, I was just a madman filing in charge after charge, a complaint after complaint. Everybody said I was the whirling dervish, but everywhere I looked, it was bad. The city gave the WDBA back in August of 2008, $30,000 in what was called the Community Outreach Program. When I asked around, nobody knew what the heck a Community Outreach Program was. The year before, we gave $30,000 to another $30,000 in this community outreach to Arlington Park, which was a 501 friends with Sylvia Portier. They never really described how they used that money. Another 30,000 was supposed to be giving to Sylvia Portier's WGBA, making it a total of 60 in March of 2009. Luckily for us, we have a great commissioner in town. The only guy on the day is worth the darn. A guy named Bill Gantz represents West Deerfield. He said, enough is enough. What are you guys doing? And then he mentioned this thing called the CHODO, which is a housing thing, stands for Community Housing Development. It's HUD money to support those in the need. I had no idea what he was talking about. I looked into a CHODO. Later on, Kessler comes and investigates it, and that's where you're going to see arrests of various elected officials, arrests of city staffers, and arrests of vendors around town. It's just bad. It's just a cast of characters who will steal $5,000 but waste $100,000 of money to get that $5,000.
It's unbelievable. Now, you also have written a book, 88 Tips on How to Take On and Take Back Your Local Government. So is that book finished?
Let me tell you a real quick story about that. Let me tell you the backstory. I think you might like this. When I was 8 years, I'm 46. When I was 8 years old, my mom did three things growing up. She said, number one, you always do your homework. Number two is you don't watch TV, you go outside and you play ball or play sports. And number three is you pay attention to what's going around you. So we would sit at the kitchen table and we would talk about Richard Nixon. Now, at 8 years old, you don't have much really comprehension about that. But I come from that type of background. My mom would always complain about city leaders, but never not know what to do about it, right? She would say this or that, this and that. My book is going to be a do-it-yourself guide. I'm going to teach my mom, I'm going to teach others who want to do something about their local government in an entertaining, sit down and an hour later, you're going to learn everything that took me 4 years to learn so you can go back and take back your local government. Wow. My book will be on the door 1st of January.
That's excellent because, I have activists all the time that come to me and say, well, here's what I've uncovered. What do I do next? And, if they had some tips, it certainly would be helpful. Hey, look, I appreciate what you're doing. You are the reason that radio hosts around the country stay encouraged because people